Welcome to the show, Thomas.
Yeah,
How you doing today?
thanks for having me. I'm doing great. It's Saturday. I get to talk a little Schmoedown. What could be better?
Yeah, and speaking of Schmoedown, you've thrown your hat into the ring for the draft this season. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you discovered the Schmoedown, maybe your love for movies, why you decided to take the chance and try and enter the draft, and possibly if you want to pitch some managers that you think would be lucky to have you, by all means.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, first of all. Thanks for giving me the chance to come on here. I want to say to the folks out there, I'm really excited to be joining this community. The family, I guess, is the best way to put it, because that's what's been readily apparent to me in just a little bit of time that I've been truly interactive, going on different shows and whatnot. Everybody has been uniformly welcoming. This is what what I could tell before, and what I can especially tell now. A very tight knit community that's all in it for the love of the game, for the love of movies, for the love of whatever their division is, or whatever their passion is. And I just couldn't ask for a better opportunity than that. It really has blown me away. As for me, I'm Thomas. If you don't know me, if you haven't interacted with me, seen me at a convention or something in the past, if we haven't crossed paths, I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan, which probably describes everybody in the Star Wars division. I'm coming into the Star Wars division, if my background didn't give that away, with Vader choking somebody over my shoulder here. And I'm really excited to be doing it. I originally got into the Schmoedown, and me sitting here today is due to two people and two people alone, and that's Alex and Molly Damon. I've been in Alex's ear, and by extension Molly's ear, since the moment that I found out that he was in the Schmoedown, since I figured out what it was all about and sort of saw some of the competitions and whatnot, and learned about this league, about this community. And I said, I've got the receipts to prove it in DMs and in text messages between Alex and I was just consistently, every year after we see each other at Dragon Con over Labor Day, come on, man, like, talk to Christian, let me just get a shot and whatnot. And it just so happened that this is the year. And so my goal here, number one, is to chop the wood in front of me, which is to get drafted. But in terms of my background, Star Wars wise and trivia wise, I grew up a lot like most of you Star Wars fans, which is who grew up in the 90s, seeing it on a VHS tape recorded straight off of TBS, commercials and all. Instantly fell in love the moment that Vader stepped onto the Tantive V4 and surveyed the wreckage there, and was just absolutely hooked. My first time seeing it in the theaters was the special editions, and so those hold a special place in my heart, and I've sort of grown up watching these movies evolve and grow as I've grown. And I really got into trivia Star Wars wise as a kid. I played this, Decipher was the company's name. It was a Star Wars customizable card game, and I didn't always have money to buy cards, and I didn't always have like a great trading notebook to be able to trade for the cards or whatever that I wanted. So I devised this like really bratty way to sort of do an end around those shortcomings, and I created an entire quiz, and it was a trivia quiz, and I still have it to this day. I tweeted it out the other day, but it's a 4-section quiz: easy, medium, hard, and very hard. And I would sit down and challenge people. You'd have to lay down your bet, either a card that I wanted, and I'd put up a card that they wanted, or a couple bucks, something like that. As a 10-year-old, a couple bucks is like $50, and they'd have to do the quiz. And if they got above a certain threshold, they would win, but otherwise I got what I wanted. And that sounds like really gatekeepy, really bratty, but it's just where I came from. So I wear that as a badge of honor, even though it's the most embarrassing thing about my fandom as a kid. But in terms of competitive trivia, Dragon Con was my entry into this sort of arena. And really, I got serious back in 2014, 2015, when the Dragon Con competition aligned with Disney's canon reset, and changed their format to only cover canon material. So you're talking movies, books, and when I say canon, it's everything that's canon. So visual guides, visual dictionaries, supplements, novels, comics, you name it. If it's considered canon, it's fair game. And each year since then, in the 6 years that I've played in that competition and done exceedingly well, the body of knowledge that you have to have has just grown exponentially. If you think about the books that come out each year, the movies that we've had come out, all of that, everything you see that's new on the shelf at your comic book store, at your local bookstore, whatever, that's additional study material that is tested. And a great example of that, if you saw this past year's competition, which was the first year it was live streamed, the new Thrawn book had just come out a week prior, and there was an entire round of questions from that book. I mean, and the guy that writes the questions and runs the competition said, "Look, you guys have had 7 days to read this book. It's not unanticipated for you guys to expect questions there." And so we got walloped with that. And along with that, Dragon Con competition is probably as well known now. Alex and I have gone toe to toe every year since then, and you've got to do a 50-question qualifier test to make your way into the competition. So there's a bar to entry there. You don't just get in because you're Alex Damon or you're Thomas Harper or because you've won in the past. You've got to qualify every year. It's an exceedingly difficult quiz. The average number correct, and these are 50 multiple choice questions, is 22. And typically you got to get at least 35 to 38 to get a seat at the table. And I've been fortunate enough to have a really, really dominant run in that competition. More often than not, it's Alex and I squaring off. So if you're a manager looking for a Star Wars player, now that I think my read on the new point system has increased the importance of having somebody of skill in that division, look no further. I've faced off against Alex multiple times. I have beaten him multiple times, unlike the vast majority of the players that are currently in the division or the rookie class. He's a nice guy. We're friends, but I'm not afraid of him. I don't sweat it when I sit across from him, because more often than not, that's my Labor Day every single year, is squaring off against him. So it's become second nature. It's part of what I train for every year. The second reason I think you should draft me is my commitment and my knowledge. Think about, just for a second, the sea of Star Wars material that's out there. I have to know that every single year. I have to prep for it on top of knowing all the additional material. The High Republic stuff all just came out. I got to read all that and keep up with it to be prepped for this next season. It's not enough to just know what's out there right now. With the Schmoedown, my focus becomes the 11 movies that are out there right now and whatever comes out in the future. And so those skills that I have, that consistent track record of knowing stuff in excruciating detail, which is what the Schmoedown demands, I'm in on that every single year, and I'm ready to take that kind of prep to translate here. So if you're looking for somebody that's talented, that can do character work, that's going to be I think somebody that fans will root for on the team, but most importantly, somebody that can compete for that belt, I think I'm that guy.
Sounds good. Sounds great, Thomas. Thank you very much for letting us all know a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
Managers, keep an eye out here for this fella. He seems like he knows what he's talking about. So good luck to you, Thomas. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see what happens here coming up in the draft. You want to hear something funny? The mic wasn't on that whole time.
No way.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, wow.
So smooth.